What's up, Wellness Patriots? Hey, did you know that our hormones are under attack and assault like every single day? It's almost like it's part of some agenda going on to dismantle nuclear families, confuse people about who they are, attack men and masculinity, and attack women and femininity. I don't know, it kind of seems like that to me. What about you? So this video is to kind of bring some attention to what's going on with that. And basically my intent is hopefully people will take some of this information I'm saying and look into it farther and do a deeper dive. It's a huge subject, so I'm only going to bring up a few things and do like a quick overview of a few things that we come into contact with almost every day that are affecting our hormones and touch on how that is affecting society as a whole. And I hope that people can do more research and find out more about it, because I'm not going to be able to touch on everything, and I'm also not an expert, but I am aware something's going on. So like I say, the point of this video is to basically be like, hey guys, something's going on with the way our hormones are being affected by things that we're coming into contact with, things that are being marketed and sold to us and that we're consuming. So you should know that this is going on. And of course, don't stress out too much. We need to live our lives. We want to enjoy things that we want to enjoy. That's fine. But it's also something to be aware of. And for me, what I try to do in my life is basically try to decrease my children's and my exposure to these things the best that I can. And it is worth trying, and it is worth trying to at least decrease our exposure, because you can see the effects of people's hormones and things being affected. You can see how this is affecting people and affecting society in our country today. So I think we do at least need to try. There is a point in trying, but it's also kind of at this point coming at us from so many sides that it is kind of like damage control at this point. So, like I say, we just do the best we can. But I talk to a lot of people that they don't seem to be so super aware of it. So I think it is something to be aware of. So here we are. So the building blocks of what makes a great nation starts in the home and with families, and that spills out into the community and then builds our nation as a whole. There is this poem that I know of, and I can't remember the origin of it, so I apologize for that. I don't take credit for it, but the poem is, where there's light in the soul, there's beauty in the person. Where there's beauty in the person, there's harmony in the home. Where there's harmony in the home, there's honor in the nation. Where there's honor in the nation, there's peace in the world. So it starts with our families and harmony in the home. And how do we have harmony in the home? We have harmony within ourselves. We know who we are, and we know what reality is, that men are men and women are women, and we are different, and we often do play different roles, and that doesn't mean somebody's better than the other person because of it. But the reality is we're not the same. So if a woman thinks that they're going to essentially be a man or act like a man or compete with men, I think that can cause disharmony in the home. Similarly, if a man is ultra feminine, then they may not be playing out their roles as a man in their family either, or in society as well. I'm not saying that a single parent can't have harmony in their home. I'm a single mom myself, but would it be better to have a mother and a father in a home with my children? Yes, it would. So I think that one of the largest problems in society, if not the biggest, is fatherless homes, or even, motherless homes, but we see a bigger problem with fatherless homes. And then that leads to more crime in our communities, which then affects our nation as a whole as well. And so that is an example of how, you know, it starts at home in our families and with the values that we have. Where does this attack come from? Well, there is a battle on this earth between good and evil, and the battle really is spiritual. The biggest battle we fight here is spiritual. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. What are some things that we could be aware of that could be affecting our hormones in a negative way? There are some endocrine disruptors that we come into contact with almost every day, and I'm going to be a dork and I'm going to hold up note cards so you can see the words spelled out, but I can also add them in the description of the video so you can see, so that when you are checking ingredients, you can be aware that these ingredients are in our products and in our food. So, and sorry if I mispronounce anything. So there's propylene glycol. There's parabens. Did I write that one down? Parabens. Phthalates. Pesticides. BPA, BPB. Phenols. I'm not sure if you say phenols or phenols. And fragrance. And so those are just some that I am aware of. Also, even water, municipal water. Isn't it crazy how there's probably thousands of women that take hormonal birth control, and then that is causing hormones to be present in our municipal water systems? So, how is it happening? What are the products exactly that have these things found in them? So phthalates is the biggest, to me, one of the biggest perpetrators here of this. So phthalates are found in most plastic products and perfumes, also polyesters and vinyls. You can tell if there's phthalates in your plastic product. Well, one way to tell is that there is a number 3 printed on the recycling label of the plastic product. And so, yeah, they're in most perfumes. So that means that phthalates are in most conventional shampoos, body care products, perfumes in general, and house cleaning products and detergents. And then just fragrance in general is another thing you can find on ingredients. And then again, that's found in most, if not all, conventional hair and body care products, house cleaning products. And whenever we see fragrance in an ingredient, it basically equals a synthetic estrogen or hormone disruptors. They're also largely found in air fresheners and candles. So then there's BPA. BPA is found in most plastic products like plastic bottles. So a lot of people drink water out of plastic bottles. Things like can liners, even coffee cups and receipt papers. So I have an example, like a coffee cup like this. The liner on the inside, you think this is just a paper cup, but the liner on the inside has BPA. And then when you see a BPA-free label, oftentimes it has BPB in it. So then there's phenols, or phenols. I don't know, phenol, that sounds like that herb, phenol. Phenols. And I even had a hard time writing it, so I'm sorry, it looks so weird. So that's the alkyl phenols that are found. They are found in soaps, and that's what's used to make suds or make the soaps or detergents bubbly. And nonylphenols are used as emulsifiers in laundry and dish detergents. And then there's pesticides that are used to grow conventional food. So I was listening to a podcast real quick with Candace Owens, and she had a guest on there that was talking about this case of a study that was done in Florida. So there was 2 farms right next to each other with a swamp near the farm. There were alligators living in the swamps, and so they studied the alligators and animals in the swamps. So there was a farm that used pesticides on their crops, and the pesticides were draining into the swamp, and you could see certain effects on the alligators, such as they had smaller genitalia, and that effect was not present in the area where the the alligators were living in a swamp that was next to an organic farm that did not use heavy pesticides. So she was saying that pesticides could be associated with decreased testosterone. Excuse me. And then, so on the subject of diet, soy is known to affect hormones and increase estrogen. And then there's hormones in meat and dairy products. So, like I said, that's just like a few things to be aware of. There's more things that we can be aware of that affect our hormones. So some solutions, and then things that pertain to men and women. So there are certain things that pertain more to men and more to women, and then a lot of things overlap. So testosterone in men is on the decrease, and so currently, just according to Google, just like if you Google it, it says it's on the decrease 1% per year. So I'm going to say that's like at least 1% per year, because like I say, that's just like what Google says. So imagine like what it really is. And it says that testosterone has decreased in men by 25% in the past 2 decades alone. So I'm going to say at least 25%. There's other sources that actually say 50% in the past 2 decades. So just imagine like how men were like, for example, during the time of World War II compared to how men are today. And I think there are a lot more feminine men that like I see around. I don't know if you guys have noticed it or not. So some solutions are getting enough sleep, and then it helps not to look at blue light a couple hours before going to bed. Balancing our circadian rhythm can help with hormones. And then I was listening to this other podcast called Heal Thyself, and the guest on there said that for men, doing squats can increase their testosterone significantly. And I'm not sure what this means, but he said that testosterone comes from their legs. They're like, oh yeah, testosterone comes from the legs, and doing squats can increase testosterone. So there you go. That's interesting. I read once that competition is correlated with higher testosterone. So a healthy amount of competition, I think, is healthy for both males and females, but I think especially for our boys and for our men, it can be very beneficial. And even like along those lines, I would say fighting to an extent. So maybe finding a healthy outlet for our sons to be able to do that, or if they like end up getting in a fight or something, like it's really not as big of a deal as as you might think it is. I know that might sound really bad, but I'm not advocating for somebody to like go around and have a problem with like fighting all the time. But that's not like the worst thing in the world either. For boys, they have a natural instinct for that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think we should like squash that in them. Eating grass-fed organic beef, and hunting and fishing. So it's good for girls or boys to hunt or fish, but I think it's especially good for boys to hunt because it just is also like another instinct for them, I think. And also when you're hunting or fishing, you're bringing home wild food. You're bringing home like a wild elk or deer or fish to eat, and then you know there's not going to be any like added phthalates or pesticides or like anything like that. So that's like a wonderful thing to eat. For boys, not eating soy, like avoiding eating a lot of soy, because like I said, it raises estrogen. So for women, avoiding conventional feminine products is important. So like especially with fragrance and plastics. So it's kind of like an awkward thing to talk about, but I just can't believe they sell things like that. I mean, that's just like one of the easiest ways to absorb a whole bunch of hormone disrupting chemicals in that way. And there's a lot of alternatives like organic cotton products instead, and there's other alternatives as well. So I think that if you're a woman, you should look into that, and avoiding wearing polyester. For that could go for both men and women. Avoiding plastic products again for both men and women, and especially microwaving or heating up plastic products. And it's important for both males and females to have a healthy amount of fat on your body and to get a healthy amount of cholesterol in your diet, but especially for women, we need a little bit more percentage of fat on our body to balance our hormones. But in that note as well, estrogen can accumulate in fat cells. So, you know, also maintaining a healthy weight can be important for both men and women. So, you know, you can see that in men too, that if they're getting too much estrogen, it could be accumulating in fat cells. So maintaining a healthy weight, that doesn't mean being too skinny either. On that note as well, for women, I think women are like more likely, possibly it seems to me, are more likely to be guilt tripped into like either being vegetarian or vegan. It seems like there's more women that feel like this moral obligation to have a vegan diet, which then you're not getting a lot of the fats that you need to regulate your hormones with or to have a healthy hormone balance. Or I see a lot of women like going on these diets and even just like not eating for long periods of time. That's especially unhealthy for women in terms of our hormones. So for both people, again, sleep is a really huge one, and balancing our circadian rhythm can help balance our hormones. And then when we wake up in the morning is a good time to go outside and take a walk and get some sunlight on our face, and something about, you know, our eyes seeing the sunlight in the morning. And then using natural cleaning products, body care, and shampoos that don't have phthalates in them, that don't have parabens and these harmful ingredients that we talked about. I'll give a couple examples real quick. So I bought soap the other day, and it took me a while to even like, I was at a natural food store and it took me a while to even like find something there, but this is what I came up with. And it doesn't have, I think it even says on the bottle, no phthalates, sulfates, parabens, or what does that say? Petrolatum. So that's the one I came up with, and you can tell the fragrance in it is just essential oils. So that's good. Speaking of essential oils, hang on a second. Brought a few things in here. I don't really use perfumes or anything, but here's a few of the brands. So Young Living is a good brand for essential oils. This one's called Simpler's Botanicals. This one is the Garden of Life, and this is just a vanilla essential oil, so it's like you don't need to use like a vanilla perfume. And then I use some local products that are handmade. Here goes my Creation's Best. This is the lip balm that I use, and then I had another. This one is a CBD salve from them as well. Handmade products by my friends. You may have some friends that make some things with natural ingredients. It has beeswax, shea butter, calendula, vitamin E, and some essential oils. They use doTERRA in their products. I know Revive is another good. Revive is another good brand for essential oils. And so you can also use a diffuser in your house instead of as an alternative to candles. Candles can be putting heavy metals into the air, and they often do have fragrances that have phthalates and things like that in them. What other examples did I bring? And then so I brought up the coffee cup thing. So also the plastic on the lid of these coffee cups is the lowest quality plastic you can find. And then what happens is you are putting a hot beverage into these cups and then heating up this plastic. And so if you have a stainless steel tumbler, that's a good alternative, and you can bring these to coffee shops and have them fill it up for you. And then this tumbler of mine, of course, it has a plastic lid, but what I often do actually is just not even use the lid, and it still stays hot for a long time. And it depends on how talented you are, if you want to like bring it outside that way. I'm pretty good at balancing my hot beverages on the go. This one is from the Daily Wire. So there's that. I think that's all the examples that I brought to show you. Oh, and then instead of using plastic water bottles, get yourself a Yeti and bring this around with you. I bring this thing everywhere I go. I don't buy those little plastic water bottles. Okay, so, and then also instead of using like Tupperware, you can use Pyrex. You can put your leftovers in Pyrex, a glass dish with a lid instead of plastic. There's also shampoos and conditioners that don't have phthalates in them. Usually you can find them at like the health stores, the health food stores. I know sometimes things can be a little more expensive, but look, your health is your greatest wealth, and if you're preventing problems later on in life, it's worth the investment. I take vitamin D every day. We live somewhere where it's really cold and cloudy, especially in the winter. Vitamin D is like almost a hormone, the way it works in the body in and of itself. So look into that if you need vitamin D, and it does help to balance your hormones as well. again, getting enough sunlight, going outside a lot and getting fresh air, because like when we're in our house, there are, hold on a second. He's at the gym.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. When we're in our house, like, we're surrounded by things that are made of polyester with phthalates on it and stuff, is basically what I was trying to say. So I often open my windows, even like when it's a little colder outside, and get outside a lot and get a lot of exercise. And then having a good balanced diet, including raw milk and grass-fed organic beef, free-range chicken, organic produce, whole foods, not processed, cutting out soy, and a healthy amount of fats and cholesterol, like I said, especially for women. Eggs. Cholesterol is not the demon it's been made to be. So find a farmer, find a source of organic free-range eggs too. Be a good idea. So those are just some things, some solutions, things we can do. Those are some things that I do to reduce mine and my children's exposure to things like phthalates and synthetic fragrances. So lastly, I'm going to say, read the Bible. Counteract confusing messages from society that question reality. Men are men, women are women. We are different, and we are meant to play different roles. And the way that I find what to do in life and what reality is in life, and also in terms of being a woman, is by reading the Bible. That's just what I do. It really is a spiritual attack, and that is the way to counteract it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that any of that information is helpful. Let me know in the comments if I forgot something, or something that you do, like that you can help me out by letting me know, to, help your hormones, or to reduce exposure to certain things that can harm our hormones. Any insights you might have, please let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. I always appreciate, I feel like so corny saying this, but I guess if you don't say it, it's easy to forget. I do appreciate likes and, things like that support my channel. So it's a work in progress. It's a little awkward start of my channel. So that's okay. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you again. Be well, be healthy. America bless God.